Hi there. This is Sayer G, and I'm reporting on an NPR article that is quite concerning because what it does is it shows that the catastrophic anticipation of bodies related to so-called COVID-19, which many are calling a plandemic, scamdemic, COVID 1984, whatever you want to call it, didn't materialize. The bodies did not materialize, right? The initial estimates, of course, for the case fatality rates were orders of magnitude higher than what actually turned out to be the case. So coronavirus, if a virus at all, is at worst a seasonal flu type of mortality rate. So further evidence for this is demonstrated by this NPR article, which I find very interesting because NPR is one of the many media outlets that gets Gates Foundation funding. So even with that fact, they couldn't help themselves, could they? Okay, because this report is really a smoking gun when it comes to understanding how people have been manipulated into thinking that, they could suspend most of the socioeconomic behavior on this planet and suspend all civil liberties, basically, over what is essentially a scam. So here we go. U.S. field hospitals stand down, most without treating any COVID-19 patients. Now, these field hospitals, there's about 30 of them that were set up in major cities, including here in Miami. They basically looked at the records, federal spending records, found $660 million was spent on these field hospitals. So let's take a look. Here's one. This is SUNY Stony Brook. $155 million given to them. And look at this contractor, Turner Construction. Okay, they received massive capital. 1,038 beds, right, created, 0 patients. That's money the taxpayers had to get, basically taxed for no patients served. Okay, money spent. Here's SUNY Old Westbury, $118 million, 0 patients. Now, keep in mind, patients is a really questionable term because the CDC's guidelines and the guidance for certifying COVID deaths through the U.S. Government Health Statistics Agency, it's also known as the National Vital Statistics System, NVSS, do not require virus testing for you to certify someone dead from COVID. In fact, suspicion of death is all that you need, and they make it clear they're not interested in any kind of follow-up to ascertain, after the emergency, whether the person was actually affected by this virus, so to speak. Okay, the WHO themselves announced that suspected cases, no virus test required to code someone dead from COVID. So when we're looking at these stats, okay, we're looking at these quote patients, anybody with seasonal influenza symptoms, which the CDC itself has been at least transparent on this for many years. There's over 200 different forms of influenza that have been known to cause the symptoms that are now being associated with COVID. So the concept that they somehow are actually testing, confirming that these people that are called patients, these 37 patients here in Chicago, where $65 million was dispersed in a contract for 3,000 beds, we don't even know that these people were dealing with COVID-induced symptoms, right? Look at this, another $46 million in Westchester County for their White Plains, New York, their center. $46 million for 100 beds, 0 patients. Colorado Convention Center, Denver, $34 million, 0. I mean, it just goes on. It's absurd. It's really absurd. So this is what we're dealing with, okay? So NPR is at least reporting the facts, but what are the implications? Well, the implications are pretty clear, which is if you actually look at, for example, Dr. Fauci, who is the head doctor for the White House coronavirus task force, he himself published a editorial in the New England Journal of Medicine, right? This was not long ago. This was actually in late March that this came out. And he said in this editorial that, Coronavirus case fatality rates are approximately 0.1%, which is about the same as a severe seasonal influenza outbreak. So he's basically acknowledging case fatality rates were orders of magnitude lower than what the WHO said and the Ferguson report, which of course freaked everyone out because it claimed 2.2 million Americans would die if they didn't lock down the entire country. So this is what we're seeing now, is that the quote scamdemic is being revealed for what it really is. Okay, this is basically looting the public coffers in order to generate, look, $660 million dispersed across the country, including, look at Miami Beach Convention Center right there, 25 million, zero served. Where's the body count, right? You listen to CNN, you listen to mainstream media, and it's as if we're undergoing a unprecedented plague-like mortality rate. But when you look at the facts, something very different emerges. Okay, the agenda becomes clear, like the Stanford team that finds that the mortality rate is as low as 0.2%. And again, the mortality rate is just another meme they're putting out there because they're not certifying correctly. They're not looking for a virus. They don't need to. They need to generate more fatality rates. So they're just pretty much taking anyone who comes into the hospital that has certain symptoms and they die and they say, this is a COVID death. Okay, so 17 times lower than the WHO's estimate. This is egregious, and that's being very euphemistic because literally 40 million Americans have lost their livelihood over what is a viral false flag, clearly. That's what this is, okay? This is a controlled demolition of our economy, of our social structure. What is social distancing? I mean, this is next level, like gulag level social engineering. So I really encourage people to take a look at this NPR report. Get the word out, okay? The facts speak for themselves. People need to understand that there is a takeover, if you will, of the psyches of literally billions of people on this planet. They are not able to simply look at the facts and come to a logical conclusion, but the facts will ultimately liberate us all. So I really hope that this video has helped, and if you can share this, that would be great.